you're raising your own energy, and then you're giving that energy to a specific thing that you're focusing on. So in layman's terms,
soap.
What was that?
This needs to be a soap.
This is a soap magic.
Soap magic, sex magic soap. That's great. Except I don't think soap and sex, I don't know. I'm just not a soap and sex kind of person. That doesn't sound great.
Well, lie in the vagine doesn't sound great. So I get it. Cat!
Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to Soap Dish. My name is Robin and I'm from Nest Soapery. And with me today, I've got my lovely friend Jazz. Do you want to say hi?
Hi.
And we've got our special guest, Toni.
Welcome, Toni.
Thanks for joining us. I'm super excited to just dive on in and figure out like what makes you tick. Before we get started, Toni, you want to share with everyone where you can be found online?
Sure, yeah. I'm at Bluebird Bath Boutique.com. So that's my website. For people who are on Facebook, it's at 2020 Bluebird, and Instagram is Bluebird_Bath_Boutique.
Perfect. All right, so let's get to know you a little bit more and figure out how you found soap. Can you tell us when you started making it, how you discovered it, and what intrigued you about it?
So it all sparked because of my dog. It's funny because my little terror over here, he's allergic to everything under the sun. And so we were always, taking him to try to get stuff for his skin. He's allergic to grass and anything you can think of. So everything they gave us, nothing worked. If anything, it was worse. So I just started, getting on the interweb and just looking up, things I could do. And, I love to tinker and make things in general. So I came across cold process soap making and I was like, and so I literally for like 3-4 months, just like went down, the rabbit hole with all things cold process soap making and decided, you know what, I'm going to try it. So before I tried to make one for him, I just made like a plain basic bar of soap. I wish I had one, but I don't have my very first bar. It was literally just like a cream colored plain something, just so I could say,
same.
Make it. So I did. I had started researching like October-ish of 2019, and I made my first bar of soap in January of 2020.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Cool.
So
and then it just all went from there.
Yeah, I'll bet. So you started off with, you did like a basic bar, and then you started diving into soap specifically for your dog.
My dog.
What did you learn about what kind of soaps are appropriate or inappropriate for animals, even though they might be appropriate for humans? Like what precautions do you need to take?
Well, obviously there are some things that you don't want to put in there for your dog. So I focused on things that were great for dogs. For him, specifically for dogs with sensitive skin, I have like, the colloidal oatmeal. I use chamomile water and chamomile essential oil and mango butter. Makes their coat so shiny.
Oh.
Like when I give him a bath, his coat is shiny. Like I put product in it, like you put product in your hair. It is
wow.
So, yeah. And I've gotten
so mango butter does that more than like cocoa butter, shea butter. You've noticed a difference?
Yep.
That's interesting. Did you learn that like by researching it, or did you just stumble upon this realization?
I've made, I have not done a soap that was made from a recipe. I formulate everything I do. So I've just kind of experimented and, even for my first Pookie, I call it the Pookie bar because that's his nickname. From the first bar, even until now, I've improved it with, better quality things, but yeah, no, I get a lot of great feedback on it, and I constantly improve and still look up things that I could add to make it better.
Interesting. Yeah. So right now or not right now, but in general, you focused on maybe sensitive and itchy skin with the dog. Was it like a particular rash that he had or something that they were trying to do?
He has black and white hair. His black hair is like super, super thick and like coarse. And then the white hair he has is thin, and you can literally see his skin. And he usually was like red, like you could see him. He was always inflamed and irritated and itchy. And he had like, dry, flaky skin. And now that we use that, when we bathe him, he has a normal pink color.
Huh.
Yeah. And nice. That's without
good mama.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, no, I mean, it's been, that was how I just, it's like I had this eureka, and then I was like, if I could do this for dog, it would work on people too.
Well, and I wonder, like, have you ever dove? Have you ever tried making things like a serum, same kind of ingredients, but not a wash, but like something that they could use on their coat after a wash, or maybe even, I guess it wouldn't be a lotion, right? You don't put lotion on dogs.
Yeah, but I've thought about doing some kind of a spritz or something, or even, something that you can spritz on hot spots. So I haven't quite gotten there yet, but I have thought about it.
I wonder if you could use a roller ball, because with most dogs, you can like kind of not peel, but like separate this. Yeah. This is interesting. So did you then branch out into any other animals, or are you just?
No, it was all by accident, starting with I found that. And then, I made, of course, I made just bars of soap to play with. And then it just went from there, oh, I want to try that. Okay. So I wasn't selling them at the time. I was just playing with it. And then, and I just had more and more people saying, hey, make this. And then my creative artist came out. I was like, okay. So,
cool. Yeah. Well, and you recently went through a huge shift in your business, right? Can you tell us a little bit about what you've been going through over the last 6 months, as much as you'd like to share?
Oh yeah. So PTSD, almost a year now. In February of last year, we had those horrible freezes here in Texas, and my house, had 7 pipes, something like that, burst. So we're talking, I had no walls, no ceiling, and for a long time, no kitchen. I mean, my husband and I literally were living in our guest room, which is tiny. I mean, it's tiny. We got a clothes that we could, moved in there, and there was, the guest bath right there. So we luckily had a small bathroom and guest room that we could stay in, because I know a lot of people had to stay in hotels, but that was really like the only functional part of our house. So, so yeah, that was literally all last year. And so that was tough, really trying to work through that. I mean, it maybe like December-ish, everything got completed as far as everything getting put back together. So it'll be a while before you can really settle back in, because pretty much everything's in boxes, like we're removing back into our house.
Wow, it was that bad?
I mean, it was a year. Let me just tell you, last year was a year. And it was, and even just beyond the actual house being in disrepair, getting to the repairs was it's a whole other thing. So that was its own stress. And I mean, I can't tell you, I mean, I had a couple of little breakdowns, and I mean, it was bad. So I had goals that I wanted to do last year after a successful 2020, kind of, getting my groove and kind of seeing where I want it to be with what I was doing. And then 2021 happened, and just kind of couldn't really do as much as I wanted. So
yeah, I feel like 21 was really brutal for everybody, more so than 2020. I mean, minus the initial impact of the pandemic and everything, but everyone was also really hopeful, really put a lot of hope in 2021. And it was just the year before, traumas, real traumas for everyone. My gosh, It's wild. I'm sorry that that happened to you.
Yeah, I know. And it's around the corner and they're talking about us having some more of those like Arctic freezes here. And I'm like, serenity now, please.
Right.
Right.
But, I mean, live and learn, there's things we'll do different this time. And that's all we can hope for, is to just.
Yeah. Through that whole snowpocalypse, snowpocalypse, I don't know. What did you guys call it? Snowmageddon. Yeah. So, yeah. So like people that live in northern states, or we're like, I'm in Michigan and we're so used to this, but we're also set up for it. Like our houses are literally built to allow for that, with the roofs like this. And we have like a whole citywide team that's designated just for salting and like everything. We have it all set up. And so when you guys were going through all of that, people in the northern states were being total asses by making all these memes, making fun of you, like, wow, 1 inch of snow, when I'm just
okay, but did they see the pictures where people's pipes burst and there were literal 7
not
foot
until
long
later
icicles? Like,
we didn't see that till later.
It wasn't
like no, I know.
I'm from New York. My husband is from Colorado. We know the cold. We can deal with sub-zero temperatures. It's not that big of a deal. But when your home is not built for it, and obviously the power, like our energy grid was not built for it, it doesn't matter how prepared you are. You're still going to be fucking cold when it's that cold outside.
I know. That first week, though, we didn't see all of those photos. We didn't know. And not that I needed to know to not be an asshole, because even if you guys weren't going through everything you went through, most people are not used to the cold. They're not used to any of that. And I'm just like, I get it. I don't like it, but I grew up with it and it's normal. But I was like, all my friends were like making fun of you guys for that first week. And I'm like, but this could be like bad though. And then it came out that it was bad and people like finally calmed down. I'm like,
I don't know about you, Toni, but I spent 6 days without power, and my home,
a lot.
My home was it was 30-degree weather inside of my home, and I can tell you, the night that it went out, it was like 1:30 in the morning, and all of the electricity was working, and then all of a sudden I heard everything shut down. It was like boom,
and it was the deadest silence you could ever have.
Right, and now
like the whole city.
Yeah. And now anytime my heat or air conditioning is cycling on and off and I hear it go off, I have to check other things like, do we still have electricity? I'm not kidding. Totally PTSD.
Home's not built for it. I mean, that's exactly it. They're just not.
So Toni, I think that there's also congratulations in order, because you went from working and having your soap business as a side hustle, and now you are officially a professional soap maker. Like full time, right?
Yes.
That's exciting.
I left my 9-to-5 the first week of November. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to go in head first. The first, I would say November, a lot of it too was wrapping up house stuff. So I had to kind of do that anyways. And I mean, no job is going to work with you on having to be gone days out of the week because you have to be at your house for this, that, and that. And it was so, we didn't know what the schedule was going to be because, it's always based on whether, when they're working on things. So a lot of my November was kind of starting to get things wrapped up at the house. And then December, of course, I was getting ready for a lot of the markets in December. And then now January, it's just kind of going at it full force and really getting into social media and doing all those things that I've been wanting to do, but couldn't do or didn't have the time to.
Mm-hmm. Jazz, do you have a question you want to ask?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, I love your, you have a really strong use of color. Is that the right way to say that? You use a lot of color and you do a lot of different, really dramatic designs, really intense ideas for soap. And I personally love that. I love the makers that have a really calm, neutral aesthetic, right? Because it's very calming to look at, like Robin and Am Happy, those types. And your aesthetic is a little more like mine, where it's like lots of bright colors, lots of glitter, high tops and low tops, but lots of swirls. Just really, where do you get all of your inspiration mostly, do you feel like?
I think that's just kind of my personality. I'm very in your face and bright and just like all over the place. And so I think you see in my soaps, you know, I love to look at, especially I love looking at Robin stuff because it's very calm and it's very serene, and I like that. But when I do stuff, me personally, I think it's a lot of it is reflections of me and just being bright and always just like, you know,
and also dark.
Yeah.
Like, I really like that about your soaps. Like, there's a darkness to it. And for me personally, like my coming of age happened during the dawn of industrial music and like, you know, like Skinny Puppy and 9 Inch Nails and Joy Dance. And that was like, that was all I listened to. I was super gothic for a long time. And I've tried on all different kinds of hats along the way. And now it's like I piece together all my favorite things, personalities or styles that I tried on, but I always gravitate back towards like the darkness, but I lead with love at the same time, whereas I didn't back then really. Like the aesthetic of the darkness is so stimulating for me. Yeah, there's like a comfort there for me, and so I see that in a lot of your soaps. It makes me very happy because there's not a lot of soap makers that do that.
Yeah,
props, girl.
I feel like when you look at Tani's feed, you can tell what she looks like and what kind of person she is. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can tell this gal is funky. I like her. She's got a good sense of style. She has a lot of fun, you know, and then you see a picture of you and you're like, dang, I was right.
Yeah, that makes sense. That adds up. I am curious about this one. Let me full screen this badass here. What is this? I'm so intrigued. I went back quite a ways.
that was a black cherry one. And so I don't, you know, it's black. The whole soap is black and red. And you know, I just decided to put piping on top of those. Like, you know, it was just one of those things. Sometimes you do something when you're not really planning it. But yeah,
here it is. Okay, I found it. I like that little strip of red. That's like a very subtle little. Yeah, it's very cool. I love it. I love black piping so much. It's like black piping without glitter on top. Even I get a little nervous about that. Just because like soda ash, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
But yours turned out great. It's popping. Do you have a secret for not getting ash on black soap?
No, you know what? One thing I tried recently, and I like it, and I think I'm going to use it going forward. Was I've noticed people that steam the tops, and I did that recently. I mean, I hadn't really before, and it works. So I'm going to probably just continue to do that. So I mean,
it's like yours came out super black though. Like sometimes. Even my batches will sometimes, like I can't steam it away because it's more like it almost like the soda ash. It's not deep soda ash, but it's like it's deep enough where it just makes it look gray a little in areas. I'm like, This is great. What do you use for black mica?
I like I'll use activated charcoal, but oh my gosh, my brain is I get the
black oxide.
Yes, there you go. I couldn't even think of my brain. So I've tried that recently on the soap tops because it gets a lot darker, but I'll use the actual activated charcoal in the bar itself.
Yeah, and like sometimes if you double them up, that's what I was using for my blacks for a long time, is activated charcoal and black oxide. But black oxide is such a hot mess that it's like there's got to be something else. And I recently discovered, what is it called? Nocturnal from Nurture Soaps. That's like the only true black mica. I still double it up with activated charcoal but it's great. And it's like a lot easier to blend in. Okay. And it doesn't stain everything. It's just, it acts like a mica, which is great, but it's not charcoal, it's black. I love all your stuff. Oh, really quickly, I'm noticing as I'm scrolling through your feed, you have other products. We've only talked about soap. You have a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. What
else do you
stuff? I only do body butter seasonally because you can't really do that in Texas when it's not cold. So I'll do those seasonally. So people always look forward to those. It's the second season around that I've done them. I do a botanical hand salve that people like. Beard oils. I recently made some beard balms. So I do, a little bit of everything. I think obviously soap is always been something that's been, a main thing. And then those aromatherapy, like the relaxation eye pillow things, I do a lot of those. People like those. So but I make them in fun prints. They're not just like, plain Jane. I have a lot of fun prints that I make with that. So
very cool.
Yeah, a little bit of everything, and
I'll play with tattoo bomb too.
Oh yeah. So that one is one that is kind of like a staple that I keep because I've made things and I'm like, I don't really care for it or whatever. But that one is one that I have all the time.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Excuse me. I just wanted to show this one. That one's really great.
Oh, my spooky girl one.
I love that.
Halloween's my favorite time to make soap.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Listen, if you made this year round though, it would be
choice.
Amazing. Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen, I was scrolling on Instagram yesterday and I saw somebody post about simmer pots. Have you ever seen this? It's a stovetop potpourri.
I have. When I was a kid, my mom used to do those.
I really want to get into them. Like there's people who do simmer pots for specific full moons or or for specific seasons. So like during the winter season, obviously a simmer pot can have like dried oranges, cranberries, cinnamon, anise, clove, right? Or rosemary or something like that. But then certain people will do like, it's January, so for the full moon in January, let's do all of these like warming spices. And maybe if it's a full moon in spring or something, they do things that are associated with fertility or so I don't know. I guess I just wanted to put that out there. I thought it was a really interesting idea.
Yeah, no, that is, I'm gonna have to look those up. I haven't seen them as far as like going with the moons or seasons or anything. So that's pretty cool.
Well, I wonder if maybe you can have some sort of, you've been doing these chakra soaps and you're like working your way down the chakras. I wonder if you can have a simmer pot. You can, apparently one of these simmer pots, you can keep it simmering for like 4 days straight, as long as you keep the water going. Yeah. So imagine like doing some work, some chakra work on a certain weekend and having this simmer pot just like all weekend long. And so you're like constantly focusing on this smell and this work that you're doing. I think it'd be like a really good companion piece.
Yeah, I think that would be a different too than like a candle scent, because it would be more organic.
Yes, and less dangerous. So like
you don't want to burn a candle for 4 days straight.
No. Well, and a lot of our insurance companies won't cover candle making, so you can't
totally
candles. But a simmer pot, like you just put that thing in water, and obviously there can be user error, right? But you're literally just selling dried things to someone and saying, here are the instructions. So it shouldn't be an issue. So you said earlier, Toni, that 2022 is about like hitting the ground running and getting things going. So what do you have in store for 2022? Like what are your goals and what are you planning on doing to kind of get there?
Definitely, being more consistent with social media and starting to build that up. I mean, I had a website all last year, and I had maybe one thing on it. I just never really kept up with it. And so, now I'm going to make sure it's all up to date, get everything on there so people can order from me through the website instead of just DM me or whatever.
Yeah.
So getting my website completely updated, putting a lot of focus in doing, more videos, and because I never really did a whole lot of them, more videos, and being consistent with posting all aspects of the process instead of just the finished product.
Yeah.
So just really kind of growing that, and then just staying consistent and doing a lot of markets that I do here. And
so you're just planning on just growing, really? You want to
Yeah, I want to grow. I want to be busy all the time.
You want to establish a website. What platform are you using?
Right now I'm using Wix.
Okay. I'm not familiar with the Wix e-commerce. Have you looked into it?
No, I'm not either.
I just, they make it fairly easy. So I post a product, do what I got to do, price it. And so, it's fairly easy. And that's what I needed at the time. In the future, I might move to something else, but
sure.
For now, it's easy for me to just, use that and then go from there.
You know what's cool? When I was looking into different platforms and developing my own website, I looked into Square. And one of the cool things about Square is that if you develop a website through them, you can link it up to your Instagram feed, and it will just import all of your Instagram photos, and you can pick and choose.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you don't need to upload photos unless you want to. And then you can just be like, yeah, this one right here, it's $7, and you can buy it on my website. And then that's all hooked up to your little Square reader as well. So that's
look at that.
Super easy option. I think it's like $30 a month or something. It's not very much. But that might be an option for anyone really who wants an easy plug and play kind of thing.
That's what I use. It's great.
You use Square?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Weebly Square specifically, which for some reason, Weebly Square, it makes it difficult to pair it up with certain things like shipping platforms or third-party shipping companies or whatever. But no, it's really great, and it puts your Instagram feed on the bottom of your website so that it's like, follow us on Instagram. You can just click that, and then it's very appealing visually because you see all your latest posts too. Yeah, it works out really well, and it's $26 a month for the cheapest paid professional one, but you can do it for free, and it'll still do that.
That's a good option.
But I've heard good things about Wix too. I just don't know anything about it.
No, neither do I. I use Shopify, and it's $29 a month. It's not super expensive, and it's super intuitive. So when you go and build your website, it's just, it's like plug and play kind of thing. You do have to upload all of your stuff and keep it updated. But I have had no issues linking up with like third-party shippers if I want to do that. And there's all these different like apps that you can purchase and get loaded into your website so that you can do different things.
I do have a question. I would like to know where the inspiration for your business name, where that came from. I always want to know the story behind that.
I love blue, and obviously, making stuff from home. I've got a lot of bluebirds that are in my yard. So I would be here, making stuff, experimenting, I was in my little experimental phases, trying to put stuff together, and always seeing the pretty bluebirds. It's like, oh, the pretty bluebirds. And, and so that's kind of where that came from. So
they're like your little spirit animal.
Yeah, the little bluebird is my spirit animal. Cute. It just always seemed to be there when I was looking out the window making something. So
that's very cute. That's very cute. And then your business name goes well with Robin's Nest Soapery.
Yes.
I also think like the Bluebird Bath Boutique logo is very like old school tattoo-ish.
Yeah.
You know, like with the swallows on the shoulders or whatever. Love it. Again, another indication of what kind of person you are. And it's like, it's so great because it feels like a well-rounded brand, like I look at your logo, I look at your feed, I see a picture of you and I'm like, yep. This all makes sense.
Continuity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
All right. Do we want to do quick fire?
Yeah.
Or do you want to, Toni, do you want to share with us some soaps that you're excited about or anything you have there to like kind of literally show us?
Which
one do you want to do, Toni?
Well, this is one of my my first little Pookie bars that I did. I mean, it's not much, but this is one of the first ones I did. Very plain, but it had literally, I had oats and I was grinding them up with a pestle and mortar. But so this is one of my first Pookie bars. I kept one of them, but so one of the first things that I ever made. So I mean, and nothing fancy, or it's just, you know, simple.
But it shouldn't be fancy, right? Like if you're doing this for the wellness of your dog, it doesn't need to be pretty. It should just be effective. And now, if I remember correctly, you put them into like little silicone molds that make them look like paw prints, right?
I have a paw print on the front of it, like a little stamp.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. That's cute.
So, and this is one of my early soaps. I made it with grapefruit oil. So as you can see, I had a wonky cutter, but I actually this is maybe one of the third soaps I made. I actually played with the top, but it's not, I mean, very,
when you say grapefruit oil, what do you mean?
Like like essential oil? Essential oil,
okay. You know, sometimes they can make like carrier oils from stuff. Yeah. And I was like, is this an oil? I haven't heard
it wasn't very smooth because when I remember putting it in the mold, it was already fairly thick. So I've got a lot of little like holes and stuff. So
do you feel like that's attributed to over blending because you were new? Like how I did when I was new and everything thickened up on me.
You never know when you start hearing people talk about trace and like, oh, light trace, medium trace, and you're like, but is that light trace or is that media? You know, until you start doing it and do it a lot, it's hard to know where your comfort zone is when you're going to stop blending. And it's different.
I try to
it's different stuff.
It is. It's different designs and different outcomes that you're looking for. I always blend to emulsion now. That's my goal because sometimes I hit light trace on accident because it's like such a fine line between emulsion and light trace. But I think Ellen Ruth might have been the one who I learned this from, that was just like helped me to figure out where emulsion was like, if it's still like liquidy and you don't know, you lift it up and you wait to see how the batter drips down the head of the stick blender. And if there are lines, it's not blended enough. And if it evenly comes down, then it's at emulsion. And that's never failed me before.
Yep. I learned that
helped so much. It could have been her too.
She like showed the bell. Yeah, and if you see on the bell of the immersion blender that like there's a separation between oil and water and it doesn't look fully, you know, one sheen, then you know that it's not emulsified.
Yeah, that was a really helpful thing for me to learn as a newer soap maker. It changed everything. Because like I rewatch all of my videos from the very beginning and I'm just like, oh my God, you're just gonna keep blending, aren't you? Stop it.
Yeah, when you watch Katie's videos and you see her or even like Ophelia's soapery and you just see them like blending, you're like, oh my God, I should blend for like 10 minutes.
I know, yes. Yeah. So I know.
How is it still running?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so impressed.
I know Ashley Marie, I had seen a video the other day and it was one of those, I was like, I feel like it's been an hour and this thing's still blending. And then it's one of those huge ones, like the, you know, real size. I'm like, how is that even not a concrete slab by now?
It's because it's that bigger.
There's more to blend. So you have to blend that much.
Yeah.
I've not made that much yet in one go.
Oh, I have.
Like the most I've done so far is 2 of the Brambleberry 5-pound molds. So 10 pounds is the most that I've done. And I've done that, you know, a handful of times, but you know, now I got my slab splitter. The sky's the limit, baby. Nathan is always doing like 35 pounds or
no, he's doing like a 15-pound.
Yeah, he did a 34-pound one recently, and he's just like, oh my God, my arm, like in the group chat or whatever. He was just like, it was so hard.
I honestly, and this is going to sound really strange, I hope I don't ever have that problem that I need to make 35 pounds of a soap. Like I don't, unless it's a wholesale order, I don't want to make that much of one soap. Do you feel like you're the same way, Toni, where you're kind of like, I get bored too quickly. I need to make new stuff all of the time.
Yeah. I do. I mean, I came to the realization though that I have certain scents that people want all the time. You know, now that I've been in here, you know, a couple of years, you know, you start seeing your repeat customers, and I do have some scents that I do remake, but more than likely it will never look like the same as the first one. They're always different somehow, whether it's a different texture, design, or maybe I added color or something. It's never the same. It's really hard for me to do the same thing over and over. It has to be variety, it has to be different, changed in some way. And so.
Toni, did you have what? Sorry.
I was just going to see if you wanted to do the rapid fire now.
I was going to, but then I was also going to see if Toni had any other bars that she wanted to show us.
Oh, yeah.
You know, my, I think my favorite one is my new one. Well, I say one of my favorites. I think it's just because I just did it and I love the way it came out. Was my little throat chakra soap. Really it was just so fun when I made it, and it smells like patchouli and sandalwood. So it smells really nice, but I mean, obviously it's blue, so it's my favorite color. But it just, you know, you never know how something's going to come out until you make it. And so when it came out, I was like, oh my God, it looks amazing. So I think that's my new favorite. I'm sad to say my favorite soap that I make, I don't have one. I try to keep a soap one of everything I make. But unfortunately, my favorite soap, someone wanted it so badly. So I was like, oh, okay. So I don't have one of that, but
which one is it? I can pull it up.
Cosmic Energy. It's literally been a year since I made it. It was
last year. You were breaking up. I didn't hear. What was that?
Cosmic Energy. I made it last year, probably around this time.
Just tell me what the bar looks like and I'll scroll through. I'm at the beginning of your feed right now.
Okay.
What am I looking for?
It's black and pink, and it has a moon and star on it. It was a huge bar. It was huge. Okay. That was my favorite one. That was
black and pink with a huge star on the top.
Yeah, it has a star on one side and a moon on the other.
So was it huge because it's piped?
So, you know, a funny story about that one is that it has 2 layers of piping on it, which made it so huge. The first layer, I don't know what happened, but it just was not cooperating with me. So it just didn't work. It did not look good. So I was just like, I am not giving up on this. I love the way that the colors came out. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to make another thing of icing, and then I'm going to redo it. And it ended up coming out amazing. I mean, when I cut it, I didn't know what it was going to look like because I doubled the frosting because I messed up the first frosting. I mean, I hadn't been piping that much, so I messed up. It just didn't work well. And so you're literally seeing the soap kind of where the black ends, and then a layer, and then another layer of frosting. It was frosted twice, but
nice.
I love that. Was my favorite one. That was my favorite one, and I don't have one, so but I'll just have to make something like it again or something.
I was gonna say, sounds like you need to make a remake.
How thick did you cut it? It looks thicker than 1 inch.
It was, it was about 10 ounces. You think about that. Yeah, that thing was huge when you weigh it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you ready for quick fire?
Okay.
Okay, so these are going to be quick questions. You got like 10 seconds to answer each one of them. Got it?
Got it.
Okay.
There are no wrong answers.
Nope. If you could choose one fragrance supplier, who would it be?
Oh man.
Fun.
It's a toss up, but I guess some of my favorite ones are there. I guess I'll have to say Brambleberry.
Brambleberry. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Okay, now for a colorant supplier.
Mad Micas all the way.
Mm-hmm. How about your bulk supplies, like your oils, butters?
So, well, everything but shea, everything but the shea, I buy in person. So I buy all my oils like here in town. So my shea is the only one that I order. So, but I don't order from any particular, place. I like to get mine through Amazon. There's this one I started using from a company called Smell Good. So I buy that, but that's really the only thing that I ordered.
So you said it was called Smell Good?
Yeah, it's a company called Smell Good. That recently that's who I've been getting it through Amazon Prime.
And that's your shea butter?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Does it actually smell good? Because shea butter stinks.
No, I get the raw unrefined shea butter, and I'll run it through several layers of cheesecloth, and I just filter it myself.
Hey, that's a lot more dedication than I would have, because I just use unfiltered or unrefined myself, and I don't even filter the dang thing. Glitter or no glitter?
Oh, glitter. Yes, definitely.
Okay. High top or low top?
I do have fun with the high tops, even though I do both. So I'll go with high top.
Okay. If you're not doing a high top, do you like a top swirl, a top texture, or a topping?
I would say swirl, even though I want it to be texture, but I haven't gotten good at doing texture yet. So I'll just have to go with swirl.
Textures are hard. You have to nail it at the right thickness.
Exactly. Yeah. So so for me, I would love it to be texture, but I'm not great at that yet. So I'll say swirl.
Okay. And pancakes or waffles?
Ooh. Pancakes or waffles? I'm going to have to go with pancakes.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
And your syrup, is it hot or cold?
Hot. Is there any other way?
Yeah, apparently.
Don't worry, I'm keeping tally. I think Jazz is winning with the hot syrup. But
yeah, what is the tally now? Like, where are we actually at?
Only me and I think Abra said cold. And
didn't Krista?
Krista said cold. Everybody else was like warm.
Right, which I think they mean hot.
Yeah, but it's okay. I know in my heart of hearts that cold is the right answer. It's just we all haven't discovered it yet because it takes so much more energy to make your syrup cold.
I mean, it takes the energy it takes is really remembering to put it in there ahead of time. And like the other day I made a bunch of pancakes and I was like, oh, I'll try it now. And I'm like, oh, damn, I forgot to put it in. So the next idea I have in the kitchen of cold syrup, I'm going to be like, oh, fridge now, going to do it. And then I'll forget about it. Well, I know. So I'm saying, well, I'm not home right now. I'm at the office. But when I have that pop in my head, when I'm at home, I'll just put it in the fridge for later. It'll be ready. So eventually that's the plan. But like, I might have to set like an Alexa reminder for myself at home. Because like my brain is always just thinking about the thing in front of me or the thing I'm about to do next. And like out of sight, out of mind.
Thank you so much for joining us, Toni. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for asking me.
I'm glad that we got to chat and learn a little bit more about you. I actually learned quite a bit in this conversation, even though I've known you for like almost a year.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, it's good to meet you. Thanks for coming.
To chat with you ladies.
Thank you everyone for joining us this week on Soap Dish. Big thanks to Toni for joining us and sharing more about your story. If you like this video, please like us, subscribe to the channel, and you can follow all of us on Instagram. My handle is nest.soapery. Jazz can be found at rogue.mafia.grooming.co, and Toni can be found at Bluebird_Bath_Boutique. And I'll put all of that information in the description box below, so you can just click and find us anywhere. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone. We'll see you later.